All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. Okay, we at this again. I've got a very great video that I want to discuss with you guys. This is one of those videos that I truly enjoy talking about because it allows me to really tap into a high frequency and connect with my Africans and African spirits on a different level. And what we're going to talk about in this video, we're going to dive deeper um, on human behavior and things that really are spiritual in many sense, that causes the outcomes that we see today as it relates to human behavior. So we're talking specifically, so that way you know what we're talking about. We're talking about how Western propaganda by Western media is no longer working as it relates to the attack and propaganda against Africa. And unless you were born yesterday, most people know that Africa has really suffered a huge negative image as a result of Western propaganda. Most people have never stepped their foot on Africa, especially people in the West. Most of them have never gone to Africa. They've never visited, they've never been there, they've never vacationed there. Most of them. However, the perception they have about our beautiful continent is from their Western media, who for decades and centuries have smeared our image and put out a whole bunch of negative things. So a lot of people know what they think they know, they get from their Western media. And also, sadly, a lot of people from Africa also who live on the continent are also affected by the perception about their own continent, right? And a lot of all of these has to do with the Western media, which has been pioneered largely by the big three, NBC, ABC, CBS. And then later on, you find the new ones that came up afterwards, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. And then you'll find also others from England, BBC. So these Western media really had a coordinated effort to smear the image of Africa. And for a long time, like I said, even centuries, they succeeded in doing it. You know, I get occasionally, I still get it, believe it or not. Someone will ask me, do you guys have, this type of homes and streets like this in Africa? There are people that have that perception. They believe that when we came up here, forget that anyone with common sense will say, hold on a second, for you to be able to come to the United States, you have to get on a plane, right? I mean, Africa is like, you have to cross the Atlantic. It's not like borders of the United States, Mexico, and a couple other places where you can cross the border on foot. Africa, you literally have to, you can't swim your way through it. You got to take a plane. But someone will ask me questions like, do you guys have cars like ours? And how are the homes over there? They'll ask you ridiculous questions like that. And it's because of the perception that has been fed to them by their Western media. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that today. Now, here's what you're gonna get in this video. Let me give you the rundown of what you're gonna get in this video, because as it relates to this topic, why the Western media has lost their flair. That when it comes to Africa, no one's buying into the whole propaganda anymore. When you look at a lot of Western media coverage on Africa, they have poo-poo views. It's amazing to me when I go to a lot of these popular Western media, I see millions of subscribers. And I'm like, how is it that you're only getting 10,000 views on that coverage? How are you only getting 9,000 views on that coverage? You've got 2 million subscribers. How is it that the number of engagement on that coverage is so poor? And when I mean poor, I'm talking about when you look at the comment section, there are like 30 people commenting on this. 10,000 views, 69 likes. Some of them struggle with that. Right? And I'm talking about these major media that we all know. And I'm like, how is it? Because the best thing that happened for Africa and Africans all over the world was social media, because it essentially took the power away from these oligarchs who have controlled the information for years through cable. So cable was where we all got our information from. And so you had these gatekeepers who controlled the information on cable. And so when you signed up or you had a subscription on cable, you had to tune in to get one of them. And so you got all your information from there. But then over the last few years, social media has sprung up. People are getting the information. I, for one, I'll tell you, I don't remember the last time I watched CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, CBS, NBC. I don't watch them. I don't remember the last time. Where I get my news from are from podcasters. I have a few number of podcasts that I watch whom I consider to be credible. And I get my information from them because they give it to you real. Like this podcast is designed and structured to give the same information to all of you. Most of you that are here because you know when it comes to CJ, you're going to get it real because CJ is a town crier. I am a town crier. All I care about is how that information is received. I don't care about the views. I don't care about subscribers. I care about how well that information is received. Because I'm a town crier. Call it whatever you want. Call it truth teller. Call it the messenger. I don't ascribe to any fancy or some kind of oracle type of. I don't care about all of that. I'm all about giving it to you real. And so I tap into podcasts who are essentially the same thing. I don't watch none of these media because I know it's propaganda. And so here's what you're going to get in this video. We're going to talk about, first of all, why that is. Why all this mainstream media from the West have lost their hold on information as it relates to us, Black people, Africans, and why nobody cares about what they got to say. Nobody. And they know it. And it's showing in their numbers. We're going to talk about why that is. We're going to talk about the root of the hate that a lot of people from the West have towards Africa. You see, there's a history behind this when it comes to Black people and when it comes to Europeans. There's a history, and I'm going to go all the way far back as close to civilization, early civilization, and we're going to dissect this. There's a history behind it. It has to do with, mostly, it has to do with survival of the fittest, which is a behavior with us human beings and animals. It also largely has to do with racism. How one human being perceives another person based on the color of their skin. But it didn't start with that. It evolved into that. Initially, we'll talk about how it was based on human evolution in terms of survival of the fittest. Right? The strong taking over the weak, that type of thing. So we're going to talk about where that starts. And then lastly, I'm going to tell you how we, Africans, play a role in why we are going to be the one standing when all have fallen, because we were the first original man, and it will end with us. Okay, so let's get into this conversation because we've got a lot to cover, as you can kind of see. So again, as I said, this is a high frequency conversation. This is one of those conversations that if you are tapped into your Africanness, you're going to get it. If you're not going to get it, and I don't really care. If you don't get it, I don't really care. This is for people who have been seeking a connection with themselves, a connection with a higher self. They don't know why things are. I'm going to try to answer as best as I can. I'm not the oracle. I don't claim to be, and I don't want to be. But I'm going to give you some insight to help you understand some of these things. Okay. Let's first talk about why they're losing us, right? There's a huge campaign and a huge effort to get the Black audience. When I mean Black, I'm talking about African audience now. There's a huge campaign because Africa is rising. Africans all over the place are understanding their value in the world. And now, why is that? Why are Africans all over the world all of a sudden understanding their value? It's because of the evolution of social media. You see, I mentioned earlier on in my monologue that the Western media and the West have controlled information, and they've been able to paint pictures about who we are, right, through their own lens. So people saw us as the monkeys, as the smelly people that don't know nothing, they can't read, they have no intelligence, they have a brain. I even heard one white person say one time that the human brain, the Black African human brain is different from the white person's human brain. You know, it's missing some bones. They believe that. So that picture and that narrative was put out there. So a lot of people bought into that. So when they see us, they have nothing but pity for us. They feel a sense of, oh my God, let me help you out. You're so weak. You know, you need help. So they come to us in a place of, I need to save you. I need to help you. You need me to help you because you don't know this thing, right? They don't come to us from a place of where they see us as formidable and as people to be equally partnered with. They don't see us that way because of how and the images have been fed. So because of social media now, we are rewriting and we're telling our true nature. People are seeing us for who we are. They're seeing how intelligent we are, how intelligent we're able to dissect, intellectually have conversations, talk about things, make things happen that didn't involve them. I mean, look at Nigeria, for God's sakes. Look at Nigeria's rise with all the negative stereotype against that country. Social media gave Nigeria's music industry the type of boost that you only got years ago through cable network. Social media did that for Afrobeats without one Western involvement to the success of that. Social media equally gave Nigeria's Nollywood, Nigeria's movie industry, a huge global brand success to where you have the likes of Netflix now create a category. You have the likes of Amazon Prime create a category in the subscription for Netflix. Social media did that. Social media has told the world that Nigerians and Africans are the smartest doctors, are the largest doctors in terms of Black audience. Social media did that. Social media talked about our African American brothers and sisters who are also paving the way and creating a lot of opportunities out here, making things happen. Social media did that. In other words, when it comes to Black people, social media was the best thing that could happen for Black people because it took away the control from the oligarchs and from this Western media who only painted us a certain way, and we're able to rewrite our narrative. Now everyone gets to see a Nigerian for who he really is, and that Nigerians, and they can see Nigerians. People have been to Africa in the last 10 years than they've done in the last 100 years. Most people from the West have gone to Africa to visit countries in Africa. For the first time in their life, in the last 10 years, Africa has had more visitors from the West to certain countries in Africa in the last 10 years than we've ever seen traffic to Africa from this side of the world in the last 50 to 100 years. Why? Social media. So people can really learn about us, and they're learning about us, that we can read, we can speak properly, we can write, we have intelligent reasoning. They come to us to learn things that they can't get in their own community. They see us that we're not just swinging on trees and like, yo, these people are really intelligent people. They go to Africa and can see that there was a Nigerian that created a TV, right, that works without electricity, works with solar. Do you see how that works? Because of social media. And so because of that, a lot of people are, for lack of a better word, pissed off because of the lies that have been told about who we are. You often hear a lot of our brothers, our African-American brothers and sisters will say, you know what, they lied to us. Go to Africa. Africa is not exactly what they're telling you. They lied to us. So you constantly hear that from our brothers and sisters who are African-Americans. And it's true because they lied to them. Social media. And so that's why when it comes to the Western media nowadays, nobody cares about what they got to say, which is why it's reflective in their poo-poo numbers as it relates to their view counts, even while they have 2-3 million subscribers, right? Because nobody's watching them anymore. Okay. Right? And you can kind of see the propaganda from miles away. Like I have a very short fuse when it comes to the type of propaganda because I can see it. I can disseminate information. I'm like, what nonsense, you know? Like for example, when the war with Ukraine and Russia broke out, we all witnessed this a couple of years ago. All you heard from these propaganda media was like how Ukraine was decimating Russia and they were gaining ground. You were hearing all of that, and that's all. You will hear it. It's almost like you tune any one of them. That's all they were saying because that's a coordinated effort. It's the same strategy they used against us. It's almost like there's a guy that sits on the 19th floor that sends out information to all these peons and say, hey, here's how you're going to cover this. And they all have to go with that. And they were talking about it. And it has now been revealed, and they all can't even hide it, how Russia has decimated Ukraine. They talked about how Russia's economy was going to fail and is failing. Russia reported a GDP growth that even the United States can't even boast of. With all the sanctions. Now, how do we know that now? Because of social media. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's a problem for these ones who like to bury the truth. See, here's what I think about the truth, and here's what how I explain. The truth is something you can't bury, man. You can bury it for a little bit, but it's going to come out. I equate truth to like body odor. You know, when you have a body odor, if you're someone who has a problem with that, maybe you have a BO or you have a bad breath. And you're one of those people that have that issue. Now, the easiest way to get rid of it is you take a shower. That's the easiest way. You know, if you don't want to have a body odor, just take a shower. You'll be good. But then you have the ones that will not take a shower. They're just like, forget it. I'm just going to put some clothes on. And they will take the most expensive perfume or cologne and they'll put it all over, right? And then what usually happens if you walk out of the house and people pass by you, they will smell your cologne. They're like, oh, you smell nice. Wait 5 minutes. Hang around the person 5 minutes and you start to smell the stench of their real body come through that. That's how I equate truth. It's like a bad smell. You can try to hide it, but if it's there, it's there. The best way is to clean it up. And so these people have hidden the truth for so long, buried it for so long that people are starting to realize that they are full of it. Now, why us? Why black people? What is it about us that this part of the West, this part of the world, have gone through those extreme measures over the years, right? To subdue us or paint us negative. What is it about us? I would go all the way far back into the early centuries. See, once upon a time, there was a time where black people, Africans, ruled the entire world. We had vast army. I'm talking the days of Egypt. Egypt alone, historians have dated that Egypt ruled for about 5,000 years, Egypt alone. And then you have Kemet, you have the Nubians, you have many others who ruled in the African continent region for thousands of years. We created huge architects, huge monuments. We created the writing press, communication, science, mathematics. We created all of that. We fought wars against Europeans, Romans, and we defeated them. They came to us to learn. They came to us because we were the origin of life. We were the first created vessels, human vessels on the planet. Everything evolved from us. We were the first ones. So they came to us to learn. As natural occurrence will occur, as natural evolution would happen, our time came and went. Now it became their turn, Europeans. Now, here is the part that I would want to talk about as it relates to what we've all felt in terms of their behaviors against us. We see it as a hate, and it is. See, a lot of us would say that white folks, and we have to know this, that white folks have always been afraid of black people gathering together or black people coming up against them because they fear that one day we're going to raise up arm against them. This is one thing they fear. But they're fearing the wrong person. We're not going to do that. But that's a fear. Now, why do they have that fear? Why do they keep us, and why have they kept us subdued for years the way they've done? It is due to the animal behavior. You see, when you think of survival of the fittest, as animals, even you find it in the animal kingdom, and we being a branch of animals, right? In the families of animals, we have that same instinct. There's an instinct within us as human beings, is a competitive spirit. Where when you find a strong, everyone wants to take a piece of the strong person, the strong man. It's always it's innate with us as human beings. It's innate as it's innate. When you find someone who is strong, everyone is succumb to that strength because we love strong people. But part of us also wants to be that. We want to be the one that everyone is succumb to. Everyone worships. So there's that human spirit. There's that human psychology. And so when Africa ruled, and the moment Africa fell, because everything has an evolution, was Europeans. Is a turn. Because we were the ones they beat. The animal instinct in every man, certainly in them, says that, listen, you're going to make sure you keep this person subdued because he was just the one you beat. To keep him from rising up tomorrow and overtaking you again. So when you look at their behavior over the years, it stems from that. It's because of that, because they know that we were just the ones they took that reign, that empire from. And so for over the years, their behaviors have evolved into what we all know today as racism. So they got to keep black people under. They got to keep them subdued because, God forbid, they gather in numbers. They may come after us. Because, that's just human beings. That's just how human beings act. So over the years, their behavior is turning to hate and racism and all the stuff that we know to keep us bound, to keep us subdued. So a lot of measures have been put in place to deny us certain things, cause us conflict, cause us to really kill each other. All of these are attempts to make sure that we never rise again. Because it's a human instinct. It's an animal instinct. It's just the natural order of things. Now, when you understand it from that perspective, right, there's a part of you that, okay, you can try to hate white people, but I would caution you, don't do that. You just have to understand the animal instincts, right? You got to understand that that is the order of things. See, and the part of that I'll caution you not to tap into your hate part is because you didn't create yourself, you didn't create nature, you didn't create life, you didn't create anything, so you can't destroy life, you can't destroy nature, you can't destroy things. You just got to go through the order of things. Do you understand what I'm saying? White people are not to be hated. Africans don't hate white people. White people, on the other hand, I would say their behavior has shown hate towards Africa. Otherwise, why would you enslave another human being and put them in shackles and chains and castrate them and cut their limbs off? Those are not from a place of love. Those are a place that's a place from animosity. And when you look at the relationship that black people have and white people have against black people and the whole, taking the empire from Africans and now ruling the earth and all of that, when you see that whole thing, you often wonder, what did black people do to white people? That we experience this type of hate. And a lot of us try to use our books, our religion to answer that question. But you're not going to find the answer there. You're not going to. The answer is nothing. Black people didn't have to do anything to white people and have not done anything to white people for that. A search is basically what you're looking for is animal instinct. The animal in us says, listen, I just took the throne from this guy. I got to make sure he doesn't come back up again because he was a strong man. It wasn't easy to defeat him. I got to make sure I keep him subdued. So over the years, what we've experienced over the years have been that. Now, here is where they're missing it. Because while they have their eyes looking at us, as though we are going to retaliate, they have their eyes at the wrong person because we're not. It's not our time. And if you believe that order of things, if you believe what I've just said in terms of, the strong taking it from the weak and everyone having a time and season, if you believe that, if you understand that that's the order of life, then you got to understand that even their time is coming to an end. And the ones that they need to be looking at, they don't have their eyes set on that person. They're missing it. It's the same way we missed it. It's the same way we missed it. We didn't know who our enemies were. We didn't know who we needed to be watchful of. We had our eyes on the wrong thing. That's how we lost the empire. That's the same way they're going to lose it. Because when you look at now the dynamic of Asia, when you look at the rise of China and India, that should signal to you where the next empire is. When you're looking at the evolution of things and you understand that what goes up must come down, things evolve. When you understand this, you understand where the next empire and who the next empire is. And more importantly, if you believe what I've just said in terms of the next one dealing harshly with the previous one who was there, you kind of have to understand now who's going to be dealt with and by who. You see, the books predicted this. What I'm telling you right now, the books talked about this. Every book talked about this. Nostradamus predicted this. Your Bible predicts this. The Quran has a version of this. The Hindu religion, everyone's talked about the doomsday and the battle that supposedly end all humanity. The Bible talks about it as the fourth beast. And so if you understand that, you understand who the next fierce and the next authoritarian dynasty is. And because the latter will always deal treacherously with the previous, so they're going to get it. The same way we got it from them, and we've since got it from them for years, based on animal instinct, they're going to get the same thing from Asia. I told you this is a deep one. This is not one of those easy ones, right? I'm giving it to you because I'm a town crier. See, this conversation we're having right now, we've had this at least 999,000 times. This conversation we're having, it's not new. I've been here with you and I'm talking to you the same way I've talked to you the 999,000 times, if not 1,000,000 times. Because if you understand the way we are in life, nothing is destroyed. See, life is like energy. Energy can neither be created or destroyed. It's just distributed. Life's life. Our soul lives on. Right? We keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so you and I have had this conversation. We've been here before. You guys listen to me. We're the same ones listening to me 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times that I've had this conversation with you. We play the same thing all over and over again. You see, that just went over some people's head, but that's okay. Because again, this is a different frequency conversation. And we all are where we are in life at a certain point, and that's okay. You just got to understand your journey. Because when you understand certain things become very clear. Like there's certain things, I've gotten to a point in my life right now in my journey where I don't pursue certain things human beings pursue. I've come to, and I'm still on this journey because I understand certain things. When I see a white person, I don't call him my enemy. I just say he or she is walking in their norm as it relates to how life has evolved. They're walking in where they're supposed to be. They're owning their right and owning the space that they're walking in because it's their time to do it. And tomorrow it wouldn't be their time. Tomorrow it will be somebody else's time. It was once my time, and I ruled the vast majority of this earth, and I ruled kingdoms, and they were subject under me. So I don't look at them and say, hey, you guys are the enemy. They better look at me as that, but I don't. And one day someone that will stand up and look at them as the enemy, and they'll become the ones going through what we're going through. And it's just the evolution of life. Now, where do we come in and hold all of this? Because it started with us, it will end with us. We were the origin of life. We were the ones that's language, understanding, spirituality was given to. We were the ones that set the order in terms of weather, in terms of understanding the cosmos, understanding day and night, understanding the seasons, understanding how to communicate, howbeit it was in different language. Nonetheless, communication and all of this stuff that we came from us because we were the first origin. And we were also the ones that didn't have a malicious intent. Right? We didn't take the reign from someone else that we felt that we have to subdue somebody else to keep our place. Our place was given to us by the Creator. So we didn't have to do anything evil to take it from somebody else so we can hold that position. And so for us, we were the purest and the truest form of humanity. Now, it doesn't make us perfect. I mean, we did some horrible things amongst each other, right? But it wasn't from a place of where I have to take the throne from you or take the position from you and I have to keep you bound so that way you don't come back up. So because the origin of life and the creator of life started with us, it will end with us. I believe this is the last age. The age of Aquarius is what we're in, that's going to usher in. This is the last one, and it's going to reset back to Capricorn, and it's going to reset back to the age that starts it all over again. And we, like we've done for thousands of times, will repeat the same order thing, because the earth doesn't destroy, the soul lives on forever. So it's a thing of marvel, where your soul seems to repeat and come back over and over again. Why you and me? Why you? It's not an accident. Now, of all the billion sperms that that get shot out, you are the one that keeps making it, and you make it every single time. It's because you are part of the whole chain of events that has to keep the whole evolution of man, evolution of creation keep going, and you have to repeat this over and over again. We've all lived, and we all will get recycled. However, the point is to understand. They said there's two important days that you will find when you are. There's the most important 2 dates that everyone will need to know. And the most important dates in your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why you were born. I know why I'm born and why I was placed on this earth. I know. Right? And so everyone will find out who and why you were put on this earth, and whatever that purpose is chances are is the same thing you did in your past life. Right? It's the same thing. You're reliving yourself in a different situation, which is why, have you ever wondered why you get deja vu? Have you ever wondered why? You tap into a certain type of knowing. You know, some of us would call them prophets. No, they're not prophets. What it is that they've relived that situation over and over again, that even while we forget, when we die, our memories diminish. But while our soul lives on, there's a fragment of that still lingers on. So some of us, based on how we are in tune with our frequency, we can tap into a certain past behavior, a certain past knowing that we lived through in a past situation. That's how you can get to find people that might predict certain things. You call them prophets. They just have the ability to tap into it better than others, because they've relived. It's a shared experience they lived over and over again, right? So I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna close. Understand that it's a beautiful thing when you're an African spirit. Understand that those who don't tap into the Africanness, and they are from Africa or they're black, are denying themselves the greatest gift ever. Understand that it started with Africa and it will end with Africa. So keep your African spirit. Walk in it. Because that's only when you do that you're truly going to fully live your entire fulfilled mission on this planet. It's only when you truly tap into that you really will. And I'm glad that we are evolving out of the propaganda that we're being labeled as. And the Africans are rising, and Africans are becoming their own men and their own women, and they're doing things, and they're understanding and believing in who they are. They don't give a shit about how people see or perceive them. They're living their own truth. So live your truth. Own it. And be at peace with it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Like this video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunnat ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda, baby. Och jag kommer aldrig